Okay, I'll do it. Your reaction to your manager.
And I'm concerned about this because you've to know how to overcome toxic leadership despite being stressed in your 40s.
Because some days you might go to work already drained, not because of the job, but because of him. Every meeting feels like a test. Every mistake gets magnified and nothing you can do is ever good enough. And deep down, you're starting to think, maybe I should just leave. I'm a best-selling author, so if you wait later on in the video, you'll also get a bonus. I'm starting off with a study from Lopez Soares and Palma Marierio. Now, in this first study, they've looked at how toxic leadership directly increases employees' desire to leave. Toxic behaviours then, what are they? In the study, it's abuse, control, narcissism, unpredictability. And it says that emotional intelligence influences how people respond. Another study by Ekenyele and Chen have looked at toxic leadership, and they've seen that it's actually widely destructive. They see that there's actually psychos in the business, in the management, in the leadership. There's power abuse, there's corruption, and there's a lack of emotional intelligence throughout. Their key outcomes has shown that low morale and burnout and even fear, even for us men, can be the reality coming from it. Reduced productivity, downing tools, long-term psychological damage, and overall a toxic culture spreading across the organization. So what of both particular studies? Well, the first shows that toxic leadership does to you, well, it makes you want to leave, essentially. The second explains why it happens, the power, the personality, the broken systems. So the problem is not just your boss, it's the system that allows these toxic behaviors to thrive and continue. So how can we solve it? Be early with everything. Figure it out, even if you can in the interview. Recognize that toxic leadership. Look for patterns, not just one-off events. Watch for the control, maybe disrespect and unpredictability. Repetition equals toxicity. Of course, repetition of good things, not so much. Stop normalizing bad behavior. If there's a culture already there in the organization, in the business, in the company, and you step into it from the outside and you just partake in that negative mood, you're normalizing it too. That's just not how it is a dangerous mindset. That's just how it is a dangerous mindset to adopt and to have. Toxicity grows when it is tolerated. So we need to develop an awareness, because this can be our first defense. And how can we use this awareness? Well, if we develop emotional intelligence, by understanding your emotional reactions, there's always things being said. So did you hear your man? What did he say? And what did she say? And and it's all negative. It's how you react to that. A little phrase that we can pop in that can be more positive. Try to understand your reactions. Read others' behaviors clearly. Some people just come into work to complain. Use emotions as signals, not weaknesses. Try to change the way and adapt and shield yourself from it. Set psychological boundaries, because if you internalize things, you then bring them home. You bring them into your personal life. Other people are going to be eventually on the end of that toxicity. So don't internalize them. Instead, separate your value from the bad behavior that's going on in the workplace. Try to protect your mental space. Now, that's all easier said than done. I appreciate that. But if you document patterns of behavior, it can be a good thing. You can kind of almost promise yourself that I'm going to get them legally. And once you put it down, it's down forever on your special notepad. You might never go there legally, but it feels better. Track repeated issues and make sure that it's useful for escalation or exit. Now, at this point of the video, if you do like it, well, show it, like it, and comment, good or bad, so we'll have some feedback, and then I can produce more videos, and you can subscribe if it's thumbs up. Now, let's go to another thing. If you avoid emotional burnout traps, that's a very good thing. Toxic leaders, they drain energy from us, and whether they mean to do it or not is the question. We can get into their game, we can try and get into their head, but it's not really going to help us if they're toxic. Instead, recognize the fatigue early, and your own fatigue is a passing of energy going along. Try to step back before this burnout hits. If you can at all, then build external support systems. When somebody asks, like a partner, how's your day at work? Okay, it's a generic question, but just go, not good. If you say that 2 or 3 times, they're going to say, hold on a second, what's going on here now? You just got this job, this promotion. Don't you have authority or whatever it is? And they'll dig into it a little bit. You don't have to say everything. I'm sure you're trustworthy and confidential and keeping the honour code and theory of what the workplace is. But if there's toxicity there, it's going to get at you and eventually at them. So you may as well tell them. Remember what we said about being early? Get perspective outside the workplace. This person can give you their perspective, but others can too. Other organizations that are similar. Even by just reading a website is a very good thing of a successful workplace similar to your own in size or perhaps income. Isolation, though, increases your vulnerability. So be very, very careful with how you spend your time outside of work. If you do see the signs very early, you can develop exit readiness. I'm on the way out as soon as I hop in the door. Not good. A good way to think, you would imagine, but actually it can be very, very good because you can be way ahead for the next adventure. And that's what it's going to be. It can only be better than this one. So straight away update your skills and CV. Once you're in the job, you're in the job. One day means one experience. Experience is what they want for the next job. So explore alternatives quietly. Most times you can do interviews without being asked for a reference, a referee, or at least for them to contact them. So go on an interview or two, or even tell your boss, I'm doing interviews to update my skills, to keep fresh, because I'm trying to get promoted in this lovely, toxic, in inverted commas, environment. You don't have to say that bit, of course. And remember, though, that leaving becomes a strategy, not a panic. So the earlier you do it, the more prepared you will be when that time comes. Don't rely, though, on the system to fix it, because if toxic leaders are there and they're in place, they'll often thrive within the systems. They could have created the systems. They could have the systems there to actually protect themselves. And lastly, user experience as leverage. Toxic environments teach resilience. So clarify what you will not tolerate again. Choose future environments carefully. Finally, just think toxic relationships from these studies, they don't improve. In fact, it spreads usually. So numero uno is the one to look out for.